In this tutorial, we're looking at how to use mass functions inside Visual Basic. So you can see I've started here with basic form with a label called mass functions. So mass function basically just means calculations. So I'll just show you quickly how they look inside Visual Basic. So we're just going to create a button, and then we'll just double click on that, and then we'll just message box out and show you the different type of mass functions you can use. Okay, so first up, we'll just hard code some. So it's pretty simple. It's just your typical ones like your plus, your addition, subtraction. So let's just copy and paste a few across. Okay, so an addition is pretty simple. So 20 plus 5 would be obviously 25. Our subtraction is a minus, so 20 minus 5 would be 15. Our multiplication is our wildcard or asterisk, so that would be 20 times 5 is 100. And 20 divided by 5 is 4. So if we run that now and we hit the button 1, it will just display them one after another. So obviously that's very simple. What we can do is we can make a little bit more sophisticated program. So let's make a very simple calculator using mass function. So we'll just delete this. So for this, we're going to need a couple of text boxes, some labels, and some buttons. Then we're going to have two text boxes to enter our text into, our numbers. Okay, so we might want to ensure the name's okay. So text box 1, so we might just call this number 1. And then we select our second text box. And we'll go down and call that number 2. Oops, it doesn't like spaces, so make sure number 2. And then finally, we're going to have two options here. You're going to have the option of either plussing or minusing, subtracting or addition. So let's have those two buttons in there. So we'll draw our buttons. Just draw 2 in there. Like so. We can change the contents of that so it's got a plus on it. So remember that's under appearance. We might give it a more meaningful name in terms of coding. So I'll call this addition button. And then we've got a minus. We'll call that subtraction button. Okay, so I need to put some code on each of these buttons. So we can either use variables or we can do it the simple way. So today we're not going to use variables for it. So if you double click on the button here, we can remove some of these because every time a button's created, it'll create a blank sub procedure. So we don't need those. So in here, what we're going to do is we'll put the following code. Message box dot show. And in there, we want to add the contents of number text box 1 and number text box 2. So we call this number 1 dot text plus number 2 dot text. So if I go back to my code, I'm referring to this and this box here. So remember we gave them internal names. So they're down here, number 1 and number 2. Okay, I'm going to copy that. And then on the other button, if we go back here and double click on the subtraction button, we can just paste that in there and just have a minus. And then what we have is on the addition button, we have the contents of number 1, number 2 being added together. And on the minus button, the contents of number 1 and number 2 are minus from each other. Okay, one of the things you need to do is, if I leave it like this, it's going to just add the numbers together, like I'll show you. 20 and 5. It's going to literally add the number 1 after another, similar to our ampersand. So what we need to do there is we just need to say add it and then have another plus there. So if we press play or F5, you can see it's 20 plus 5 is 25. And if I want to test my subtraction, I have my subtraction working fine. So my advice to you is to play around with the tutorials, maybe try out the division and the other sort of math functions you can think of, and just try to extend it a little bit. Thank you for watching this tutorial.